I've heard him talk, but I've never heard him one-on-one or like in a group context.
Yeah. I've never really heard him talk with other people.
He's very interesting though. Very interesting.
So I got this new topic, this new question. When it comes to communicating, this is actually a topic that I thought about. I didn't bring it up, but when it comes to communicating, what's the level of communication that feels just right for you? Like if you had like Goldilocks and shit, like too much, too little, okay, just right.
Well, what are the parameters there? That's such a vague question.
Yeah, am I on a
level
date?
of communication? Like
Yeah.
what are the
So,
parameters?
I'll put it in a sense. Say like you're living in your own house. You're living in like in your one bedroom apartment.
Oh, I need two, but okay.
Yeah. Honestly, I needed two, but I'm like I'm just trying to make one happen.
Hey, if a nigga gonna give me a one bedroom, okay, I'm gonna make it work.
I
But
give him rent though. Yeah. That's what it is. But if you're in your house and like there's nothing happening, like you're in a mode of social stasis. You have your phone and that's it. But like how much effort are you going to put into reaching out to people in your contacts? Like, being, getting another person in front of you or on the other end of your communication. Like what's like the
I don't know if you're asking the right question though.
the way you
I have
the
a
way
very roundabout.
what you
You guys-
brought how you brought it up and what this question, like what you just described, there are two very different things.
Okay, I have really bad at like phrasing
can-
my thoughts into like one concise question. I have to
you
do like
wanna-
the second pass.
Okay.
How often do you want to be like talking?
Okay.
There you go.
Totally different question. Totally different question.
And it's to another person.
Yes.
Not to myself.
Like it's-
I mean, I don't have to.
Okay.
Like, how often?
Yeah. Like if you're living alone, how long are you gonna go before you reach out to someone for a phone call or text message or like, hey, let's hang out, let's link up?
Yes.
How long are you gonna go?
I've never lived alone.
Wow.
So I'm always with my Gram, and she's always like, "Hey, what do you want to eat?" Something like. There's never a time I have never spent a time in my life where I've lived alone.
I feel that. Like,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Maybe to answer that question, I don't know. Maybe. Okay, I am, quote unquote, a social butterfly. I do like to go out. I don't want to say I'm a social butterfly. I like to go out. So I usually get that damn, I need to go out. Maybe like every 5 days. So like I'll go out on like Sunday. The reason why is because I've done this recently, where I went out for New Year's and then I didn't go out until Thursday-ish. And Thursday I was like, damn, I'm feeling like I haven't been out in a minute type. You know what I mean? I got like that, damn, I haven't been out recently. You know what I mean? Vibe and that social yearning to go out. And Thursday I went out and then I was refreshed.
so when you kickstart that, like scratching that out feeling, that out itch, do you try to make something happen with a friend, coworkers, or do you like go out just outside of the four walls?
It's usually with a friend. I do go out and eat by myself sometimes.
I be fucking meals up myself.
Some people can't though.
I think people like can't go out like an outing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was looking.
Because I've talked about this with Esper before, and he can't go out and eat by himself.
Oh, and I don't.
Or he doesn't. Sorry. He doesn't.
No,
Yeah,
he's conditioned. He's physically incapable.
It's not that I can't. It's just I don't. Generally, as a rule of thumb, like I wouldn't sit down and eat a meal at a restaurant alone. If there's like, I wouldn't. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm not against it. Like it's not the worst thing in the world.
Have you done it?
No. If I'm hungry, I'll get something
He'll go home and he'll watch a video while like that's his thing.
You know that.
Yeah, I'll go home, or if I'm like in between, I still will do a to go meal. Like if I have an hour and a half to kill.
So where do you eat it then, or do you like go home and eat it?
No. So like say like I'm downtown and I have an hour and a half in between something I was just doing, something I had to do. Like I would get like something, like I wouldn't do a sit down meal.
Right.
What?
I wouldn't do a sit down meal. Like I'd grab Chipotle
and then do what with it?
and then
Unspeakable things.
Well, look,
Not eat it.
no, I
But like, I will have you wait right there.
no,
I'll
no,
be-
like I can eat the Chipotle at the at the Chipotle, but I'm not going to like like a sit down, like a real sit down restaurant.
there's a big
Like,
difference. If they give you like a fucking like a cloth napkin to sit down,
Yeah,
I'm
that's okay.
Yeah, I'll be at the bar.
Because like, look, like we can all go out. We can go to BJ's, Chili's, Morton Steakhouse, where fucking ever. Ugh. But I'm not gonna go there alone, do a sit down meal and all of that.
Okay, so
That's what I'm saying. Like if I need to eat some Chipotle in a Chipotle, cool.
okay.
But I'm not gonna go to a sit down, spend time restaurant and eat
Okay.
by myself.
So
Okay.
has there ever been like a plan that you've had that you've ideally in your head wanted to do it with someone, a person, but like it just doesn't come together and like you're like, fuck. You know, you have all the time in the world, figuratively, but you really want this to happen. And so like
You just do it yourself?
do you like get to the point where you're like, all right, I'm just gonna go on this date by myself?
Not like a date, but there's definitely been like galleries or events and stuff where it's like, damn, we've been talking about this for like 3 weeks, and then you bail on me. All right, well, I'm still gonna go. I brought it up because like I was going to go. I made the decision to go.
To where?
But you know, like it's eluding me the specific things, but like it'll be like, yeah, like an event or a gallery opening or something. And it's like, yeah, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. And then someone it might come up in conversation and they're like, okay, yeah, let's go together. And then we're talking about it. And if you bail on me, I'm still gonna go. I've gone to hella things alone. If it's a social event, sure. And also that's kind of
know
way
what?
easier because I know a lot of like chances are I'm gonna know someone who's there.
Facts.
Like chances are I'm gonna like I've been at Publix and run into people I know. So like you're telling me I'm going to an art event in Miami? There's not gonna be anyone I know.
I think see now that seems more healthy than the eating thing.
Yeah, and I mean it's not even that I think like eating alone is sad or anything. Like if I'm
No, I wasn't even putting
Yeah.
that down. I'm just saying I wouldn't go to an event alone.
oh
Yeah. Yeah.
I've had like I made the decision to go to an event alone. This was when Esper. Backstory: me and Esper was my into finding out what events were and going to events. So my first event ever was tagging along with Esper, and I was like, "Oh, this is dope." We got the first event I went to was the night we got our fucking matching hoodies, like by chance. His was given to him, and mine was thrown into the crowd, and I got it. And so it was like, wow. But yeah, so the time when I came back from Orlando and Esper was still in Tallahassee, I was like, fuck, what is there to do? And I ended up just going to events myself. And I was like, fuck it. And it's true. I will say there's a difference in that dynamic from when you go to somewhere and have an engagement with someone or as opposed to when you go by yourself.
Mhm.
Like you're basically two different people.
Yeah.
The legs you walk, they just move different.
Yeah, I would agree. Like versus you in a group versus you solo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
no.
I think it's just a whole different gear that your brain is in.
Not even. I feel like you have more opportunity when you're solo.
I'm not gonna lie. If I'm solo and I'm not around a bunch of people I don't know, like I got one. My
Oh,
Say
homie,
that again because
If he's
I'm-
solo,
if I'm
and he's
solo-
you double negatives.
right, he's solo and he doesn't know anyone there.
Yeah, like okay, because for example, like
Okay.
recently, my homie Ruth, she's an artist, fine
Shout out to
artist.
Ruth.
And yeah, shout out to Ruth. She had a gallery she was presenting in. I was supposed to go with people. I think I was supposed to go with people, but then they bailed on me, so I just went by myself. And when you go to something like that, you know you're going to see the person you're there for a little while, but everyone's there to see them. You're not going to be talking to them the whole time. Especially if you're just one person, you'd have to join like a group. So basically, I saw her, I said, what's up? And then the rest of the time I was there for about like 30, 45 minutes. I was just walking through the gallery, looking through everything, but like my brain was like just on art mode. Like I was like really just like dissecting the art and everything, like almost not even seeing the people around me versus if I was there with somebody, we'd be talking about all types. Like it's for me, it's just like
Interpreting it together
Yeah,
and all
it's a
that.
very different mode that my brain is in because I'm also very capable of like not interacting with people. I'm great talking to people, but like going back to your question, how long I would go, I think I could go like a month.
What?
I think I could go a month
Without-
if I lived alone. I could go a month without ever calling anyone aside from like my family members who want to make sure I'm alive and stuff.
That's
like,
part. If they're calling you, then yeah, okay.
well, like you know, if I gotta call my mom every 2-3 days just as a check-in.
That's a baseline.
yeah.
That's a baseline.
But aside from stuff like that, like I'm not
A
the
month?
Type, yeah, I'm not the type of person who would like if something comes to mind, okay, cool, boom. I'll reach out to you, ask you, hey, what about this or what about that? But reaching out for the sake of wanting interaction, that wouldn't really happen.
A month.
Yeah.
a month.
Yeah,
And like honestly,
I could go a month or more. Like honest, it wouldn't. I don't really reach out for the sake of interaction.
What do you think that's what the reason?
I'm an only child.
you don't know how many things I attribute. You don't know how many things I
Fuck!
attribute to his.
I honestly, I was trying to figure it out too. I was like,
big, it's big.
what? How the fuck?
I feel
Yeah.
like in my personal experience, I don't know if it was a month or if it went longer than a month, which is why I was like, all right, some shit needs to shake. But one of like the biggest depressions that I've ever been struck with was when I was like, I'm starting to feel socially isolated. And this
When you
was
were in
like,
Orlando?
yeah, when I was living by myself, I had 3 different roommates, and like it was cool. We could like talk, whatever, but it was like interactions that like were facilitated by being in the same space. Outside of that, it was much tougher. Like it's a on campus experience, but a lot of people, if you're not going to a place where they're gonna be like staying there, it's still high and by. You go to class, you go to eat, and then you know
Yeah.
you don't have to go home, but you can't, you know.
Especially when, not to cut you off, but especially like when you're not on campus,
Mm-hmm.
like the difference there.
Unless
you're talking about at
UCF, yeah.
Oh, so you were living on campus.
I was living a street away from the campus.
that's-
so
that's on campus.
Yeah, and like if you're going anywhere outside of that, you have to know people to know what's happening outside of campus. You
Yeah.
can't just like look on a flyer on campus like, oh, party over
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So like if you don't have that in, it's tough. And
Like if someone moves to Miami, if someone were to move to Miami and didn't know anyone here, how do you find out about what's going on?
literally,
It'd have to be through your coworkers. That's it.
Do you guys? Was that
that's
hard for
one
you?
option.
Was that hard for you guys?
It was difficult. It was
Because to go on note, they both went to universities out of their city, at least 3 hours away
for some period of time. Yes,
for a period of time. So was that rough when you guys?
for sure turbulent. And it's kind of like you get there with like this super like jubilation. You're like, oh fuck yeah. I'm like on my own, no parents. You're like, let's get it. It's gonna be party town all over. And then you get really quickly sucked into like the pace, the monotony of like going to class and then going home, because you don't stumble upon the shit that you expect that you fantasize about when you think about college. You kind of like have to like first get to know your classmates, maybe if you decide to make that interaction, and then you maybe go into the club, and then club's gonna be about the club, and then if you want to build further relationships into people into the club, then you gotta be selective about you gotta make that decision, and then it's complicated. I will say it's an experience that I appreciate definitely, but when I tell people about it, I urge them to go for it if they can, because it's an opportunity to find out who you are. Because it's one of the philosophies that I try to impose myself, and I can even preach about it, but I try to live like it, but whatever. Live like there's nobody who's going to help you. And that's kind of like how you find out who you are, what you're about. Because like, if something's gonna happen, you're gonna be the person to make it happen. There's no phone call. There's no, oh, this is gonna be here this is gonna be at home when I get back. It's like, oh, the dishes didn't get washed. That's crazy. Like that's crazy. You woke up the next morning, you need to make some shit. Make it happen. Like, and like, some people are like, oh, that's common sense. That's like basic, whatever. But like,
Not everyone moves like that.
When you guys
Yeah.
put it this way, I feel like living that college lifestyle is like completely different. Even living on your own outside of college, you know what I mean? Because not only do you have that the your own will to do things, but you also have that social everything socially going on around you that you're trying to get in tune with, and you know what I mean. It's like that can be pretty hard for someone to do,
And
especially
like
going out their first time living on their own.
No, I do want to say my experience was a bit difficult. Not difficult, different. Sorry. I mean,
Get out the
I
mud.
went to orientation and immediately connected with people, not people I had already known. Just immediately made connections. Then going back, kept those connections. One of the people I met my first week at FAMU was one of the people I lived with for 3 years. 2 months ago, we took a trip to Orlando. He flew down from New York. I drove up to Orlando. I drove, right? How did I get? I don't know. But yeah, I drove.
It's like he had a good time.
Yeah.
Witness amnesia.
But no, so I did manage to make connections very quickly. So I also I didn't feel any of that social isolation. I always had people I could contact. And because college there's so many factors of living on campus at a college that like make it that environment that so many people can think back fondly. You're like living in walkable communities. You all have normative schedules. So you're all going to be doing the same things around the same time, which make it a lot easier to plan things together. This is the same thing as like high school, how easy it was to hang out in high school versus how hard it is once everyone has full-time jobs and everything. And you can get scenarios that are close to that. If you live in New York, oh, well, everything's walkable and things aren't going to be that far away, but everyone's schedule is going to be different. Or you can live, if you have coworkers, cool, but you might work in very different places. Like the combination of things that have the factors that make college living on college like so great. Like I think that's what makes so many people like, oh, college was the best time of my life, is just because there's this way of life. It's not just the stage of life you're in, it's also the way of life
And the kind of
that you're not gonna
expectations
get anywhere else.
expectations you have or people have of you. It's like a grace period. You know, you're young, you're still like you can get away with being like gullible and like naive and like hopeful about a whole lot of shit and like super energetic because you just haven't been bogged down by like waking up and like knowing you have to like drive and go to work where you have to deal with the boss that you can't get fired from because you know you got bills and shit, which is like the narrative that I find that most people, and I would say most people because it's not a majority of people who are young. Like if you look at a city, most people are like 30 or above. I'm not saying 30-year-olds are old, but you know,
You heard that, Tony?
I'm 30? Oh, no, I passed 30. I'm good.
I just gave my disclaimer.
Just passed 30. How do you guys feel about the phrase, make people miss you for a month? So I've lived alone and lived with people. I could say that I've never actually known who I was until I actually had the opportunity to live by myself. And whenever I wanted to do a reset, when I avoided people for like a month and kind of focused on what it is that I wanted to do, that's where I saw the most gains in anything, whether it's like health, making money, whatever it was. That's where I saw the most gains. How do you guys feel about that?
I think it's really interesting because like I can already see like how it's counterpart to kind of my mode or how I operate best. I think being social can be a very distractive thing. So you take time to be with people and like just for the sake of socializing. And that's a whole activity in itself. Some people are good at it, some people aren't. There's, you know, extroverts, introverts. Me, myself, my approach is I do a lot of things socially. So I like to do things that I am passionate about or I know can better myself socially. So that means like going to the gym socially or making art, like making music. If like something about like a presence that I view as similar in that peer, something about having someone in that same kind of world around me when I'm doing something makes me go even harder, or it helps me stay focused. So like you can make it miss you for a month for sure if you're gonna like cocoon inward and just metamorphosis into like,
Oh, so if it's a productive month, you
yes,
can do it.
It has to be productive. Some people can make it like out of spite thing, like I'm gonna fall back from everyone and see who reaches out to me, to see who values me as much as I value, or you know,
I didn't think of it like that.
I'm a man.
That's the first interpretation of the phrase. Good with it.
Make him miss you for make him miss you for a month. It's like,
the first thing I viewed it was from out of spite, but
like they're gonna feel this when I come back. Yeah,
exactly. I'm there with you on that. I agree.
Yeah, I like doing shit socially. So like,
I don't like working out socially though. When I'm at the gym, like I'm in a different mind state.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we all used to go to the gym together and stuff, but since I started going alone,
you're more productive.
Yes.
I'm more productive, and just
It's a
the
trade-off.
gym helps me with my discipline. Like if I stop going to the gym for a long time, I become less disciplined of a person. I think having adversity and having something to struggle against and overcoming that, like, I don't know, something about that just gives me a lot of drive on top of the endorphins and all that shit also, but just like being there and like, I don't know if I can do this. Yes, the fuck, you know, like that.